Dice Tower Tonight, episode 37.
Our anticipated games of 2019.
Welcome to Dice Tower Tonight, a video cast about board games and card games, and especially the people who play them. On tonight's show, we look forward to some anticipated 2019 releases. I have a challenge for Crystal and the viewers. We dish on some of our recent games played, and we chat with the audience live. I'm Eric Summerer, and joining me now, the Carmen to my player, Crystal Pisano.
Very nice. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dice Tower Tonight. No perceived audio issues this time around.
Oh, it's early. The show has barely begun. I'm sure we'll run into something.
I mean, everyone did really like Dalek Eric showing up last time. That was quite enjoyable. Some people clipped videos and put them on Twitter, and I may have retweeted them. It was pretty awesome.
Perhaps. If you haven't seen it, it is entertaining, at the least.
Definitely.
Anyway, so far so good. We are 1 month away from Dice Tower West, Crystal.
I cannot tell you how excited I am, and also a little stressed and anxious, but mostly very excited. I have feet in both camps fully, in the convention running and the Dice Tower crew part of things, which means I'm going to be all over the place. And yeah, anyone who knows me knows I'll be running around like a crazy person, probably most of the time, or a silly person. Is probably a better word to use there. But yeah, I'm very, very excited, and I'm excited for all of you to come to Vegas.
Yeah, I'm also excited because you are about to do a top 100 thanks to a stretch goal in the Dice Tower Kickstarter.
Yes. So the 260K stretch goal was Ambi and I are going to put out our top 100 videos on the Dice Towers YouTube channel. I am very excited about this. Ambi and I actually did our top 100 videos last year on the Board Game Blitz YouTube channel. We hadn't joined the video team formally yet for the Dice Tower. So if people are curious about what our first foray into that was, you can go look at those videos. They're not the best quality, at least from me. Ambi's are great. Myself, though, I'm looking forward to doing it again. I learned a lot doing it the first time, and it's definitely a lot of work, but I'm very excited to undergo that project one more time.
Awesome. And if you haven't had a chance to check out the Dice Towers Kickstarter campaign, it is the way that we raise funds for a year of programming. We are listener and viewer supported, and we appreciate it if you can check it out. And if you can lend us some support, that's fantastic. If you can't, that's fine. We will remain free in all of the programming and things we do here, but we do appreciate your support. And there's only a little bit of time left. I think we're down to just over 24 hours to support the Dice Tower in this year's Kickstarter.
Yeah, it is wonderful that so many people have already pledged their support. And we definitely encourage anyone that hasn't to go check out the Kickstarter page and to back the Dice Tower if you like video content like this and you want to see more of it. I know that Tom added a couple more stretch goals today, and they look pretty cool. Yeah. So I think we could hit, if we're like, if people like really like dig deep, we could hit 300. That's what I'm hoping for. It's going to take some work to get there by tomorrow night. And I know Tom and Jason and maybe a few other people are doing a live stream here on the Dice Tower tomorrow evening to count down the end of the campaign. So if you're available tomorrow evening, make sure you come and watch that live stream as well. I think they're just going to be kind of playing games and hanging out. So that should be fun.
Very cool. Well, we should get straight into some games we have played recently. Crystal, why don't you go first? Talk about something.
So I have a couple games I'm going to discuss. The first one, I technically have nothing for show and tell because it is a game I do not own yet. I mentioned this briefly in my monthly Q&A at the end of January. That is the Quacks of Quedlinburg. This is a Wolfgang Warsch game. It is a bag building game. It came out not too long ago, and I had been wanting to try it for quite some time. I played it once at game night. Then I mentioned it on my Q&A that I was really itching to play it again, and I did. So now I've played it a couple of times, and I'm still fully in love with it. So in the Quacks of Quedlinburg, you are a phony doctor or slinger of potions, basically, and you are trying to build the best, most impressive potion without having it explode, so you get the most money and the most points. All the players have a bag with tokens in it to start, that you can then add more tokens to throughout the course of the game, and you're pulling tokens out of the bag and putting them onto a little spiral cauldron in front of you. And it's push your luck in that you can keep drawing as many tokens as you want, but once you hit a certain number of the white berry tokens, your potion will explode. The tokens have different numerical values on them. The ones that have higher numbers are more expensive to purchase between rounds, and you're just pulling tokens until your potion explodes. And you'd think at a certain point, you'd go, well, clearly this is a good enough potion. It's going to give me some money to buy more tokens, and it's going to give me points, and it's great. But somehow this game compels you to keep reaching into the bag. And I don't know what it is, but it's magical. There's a few other aspects of the game that are pretty neat. The tokens, the powers that the tokens provide during the course of gameplay are variable. There are, I think 4 different options for each token type. So every time you play the game, the things that the different tokens will do when you pull them out of your bag and put them into your cauldron are different. Some of them will score you extra points at the end of the round. Some of them will manipulate how far the tokens move on your track as you're placing them. Some of them will give you other bonuses in the midst of the round or after the round. And it's really neat because each game feels a little bit different because of that variability. There is also an expansion for this game coming out soon. So lest I not think there was enough, there's more. And I'm very excited. Is it weird that I want to buy the expansion and I don't quite yet own the base game? I think that's a good sign.
Yeah, that's not that weird because I think that may come up in our discussion later in the show.
Ahaha. So yes, the Quacks of Quedlinburg is hard to find right now, which is why I have not ordered my own copy yet, but it is one that I will most definitely be adding to my collection very soon. And I think if you like push your luck games, this is a great one. There's a lot of ways to manipulate what's in your bag to mitigate how bad the pulls are, but sometimes no matter how many good tokens you put in that bag, you're going to pull out that white berry and your potion's going to explode. But you still get some stuff, so it doesn't feel too bad. And that's why I love it. So that is the Quacks of Quedlinburg.
Very cool game. I managed to find one on the North Star Games website. You could order it directly from them, and it it was out of stock in a lot of the stores, but I managed to get one direct from North Star, and it arrived in just a few days. It's pretty cool.
Awesome.
So my first game to talk about is called the GoVenture card game. Now let me back this up a little bit. There we go. So this is a pet peeve of mine is when game companies who are usually trying to break into the hobby market or introduce something to maybe the wider non-hobby market put a bunch of marketing text on their game that has nothing to do with the game. That's just generally playing games is fun. Stuff like, you'll be amazed to discover the depth of the gameplay that is revealed as you play. Follow every turn and every decision, or just play casually. That doesn't have anything to do with the product. It's just, board games and card games are great. You should play them. Okay. Anyway, the GoVenture card game is packaged with 2 different themes. You'll notice there's a monster card game and there's an entrepreneur card game. They're identical. They are the same thing, just with a different skin, a different thematic overlay. The rules.
But why?
Right. They're in the same box. So what's the point? I don't know. So maybe you say, hey, let's play this game. Which theme do you want to play today? I don't know. Anyway. The rule sheet just is 2-sided. It's the same exact rules, whether you're playing the monster version or the entrepreneur version. So let's forget that the monster thing exists. We're going to talk about the entrepreneur version because it's just easier. So you've got a whole, and this box, you can't really see it, but this box is annoying. It's just 2 lines with the 2 sides of the 2 types of cards, just willy-nilly everywhere. Anyway, so you've got customers in the entrepreneur version. This guy wants either lollipops, or sports paraphernalia.
That's a very those are different.
Sure, why not? And then there are product cards, and that is the stuff that they want. Let me find is there any sports paraphernalia here? No. But
Also,
there's
that
pets.
looks like an actual Xbox controller. Like that looks like copyright infringement a little bit.
I think that is actually an Xbox controller.
Huh.
Yeah, I think they took the logo off. They pried it off with some with like a screwdriver. So anyway, you've got a hand of these product cards, and then you're trying to match them to customers. But in order to match them to customers, you also need another type of card, like a store. No, that's not it. Those are action cards. You actually need a toy store. So if you want to sell toys, you have to have, here we go, pet business. I dropped it. Pet business. If you want to sell pets, you need a pet business. And your first one's free, but any additional ones you have to pay money for. So you start out with no money. So you have to just sort of take a stab in the dark and say, all right, I'll go into sports business and hope that you get a customer that wants sports stuff and you have sports. So if you have sports, you can sell sports if you have the sports business. If you manage to get two of certain types, you can get one of these world cards. So if I got 2 sports or 2 lollipops or one of each, I can get this. I've cornered this section of the world. And if I manage to get all 3 sections of the world, I win the game. Or if I get $20, I win the game. So I can try and just like diversify and just do a bunch of little cheap products and corner the market in the world. Or I can try and get the high scoring, get things and earn lots of money. It's exceedingly random, because some customers are worth more money. There are some customers that will get you one of those world cards immediately without having to get 2 sports ball cards. So especially at the beginning of the game, when you just take a stab in the dark, you don't know if you're going to get lucky. You basically draw, when you go for a customer, you just draw one from the top of the deck. You can take one from the discard pile, or you draw one from the top of the deck. Can I sell to this customer? No. Oh, and that's your turn. The monster version is identical. As I said, instead of having items, you have weapons and stuff. Instead of customers, you've got like mermaids and centaurs and stuff like that. The GoVenture card game, I don't know. My kids liked it. They enjoyed messing with me. I can't recommend it. It's just too random, and the box is annoying. Look at that. Look at that box. Just like opens and the cards just go everywhere. I'm done.
I really for a while there, I kind of tried to stay the course and like pretend to be interested. And wow, it sounds bad. Like it sounds real bad. And you and I, we forgive a lot, I think, in some games.
I mean, it's not egregious. It's not terrible, but I still don't understand why you put both versions in one box. Why? I have 2 copies of the same game in here. I could just split them up and give them to 2 different people.
And 2 rule sets.
Oh, right. There's only 1 rule set. That's how they get you. It's a 2-sided rule set.
Yeah, that's the trick. They printed the rules by mistake, double-sided, and then decided to make a box that would hold both versions of the game. That's what happened here.
I don't know. My kids liked it. It's basic. I could maybe put this in a classroom or something as like a minor investment game, but it's not sticking around here. No.
I mean, who doesn't want to go into pet business? All right. Well, from that, let's go to something a little more lovely, shall we? And that is Herbaceous Sprouts. This is the dice game sequel to the card game Herbaceous. They are in the same family, and they are by the same publisher, and they have similar artwork. But technically, the games are not mechanically related to one another in any tangible way. There are some things that'll be familiar to people who have played Herbaceous. But in Herbaceous Sprouts, instead of building your own garden of herbs, and trying to create the best one for yourself, all of the players are planting sprouts into a community garden. And the community garden is sectioned off into these areas here, like you can tell by these little lines. And each area requires you to play dice of specific types, similar to the card game in sets. So if you want to plant in this area of the garden up here, all of your dice have to be the same type of herb. If you want to play in this area up here, all of the dice have to be different types of herbs. If you want to play down here, you have to have pairs of herbs. And then this is a little bit different. This is new. That was nothing in the card game. This is where you can plant flowers. Every player has a player board in front of them, which are component-wise just so good because they show all of the actions you can do on your turn. I'll try and get the thing to focus. It's kind of working a little bit. But they show all of the actions that are on the different cards that you're going to be drawing. So like everything symbology-wise is just explained on your player board. But every round, a number of cards come out. I have the cards. And then players, whoever the lead head gardener is for that round, basically just the first player, will draw a number of cards equal to the number of players plus one, and then place dice on them if there are dice places that on the card. So this card would get 3 dice on it. This one would only get 1, so on and so forth. And then you'll see those symbols that were on your player board are on these cards as well. Then players draft the cards in turn order. And when you draft a card, you get the dice from it onto your player board, as well as you get to take any of the special actions that were on the card. Some of the special actions allow you to re-roll dice, to plant flowers, to save a little pot next to your player board with a specific type of herb in it that can be spent as part of a set of dice later. And then you can plant as many sprouts as you have dice available, basically. If you have the dice to be able to plant a set, you can do it as many times as you want on your turn. So, for instance, if I had 3 different herbs, I could plant them in the all different garden here. Let's say, so if you have 2 different herbs, you can plant right here on this spot, 3 different, 4 different, 5 different. And you get more points, which are indicated by these little green spots, depending on how many you have. So it's a little bit push your luck in that if you have, let's say, 4 of the same herb, you could spend those dice, put them back in the bag, and put one of your sprouts right here for 5 points. But if you wait till the next round, maybe you'll be able to get 5 of the same or 6 of the same. So it's a matter of, do you think your opponents are going to take those spots before you, because they are limited. And when you're playing a 2 or 3 player game or the solo game, there are rival sprouts that come into play every round and take up spots on the board as well. So it keeps the little economy of the board nice and tight. And then at the end of the game, you total up how many points you have from the sprouts you've planted. And then I think there might be... Oh, and then you get points for leftover dice and other things that you have in front of you. And that's kind of it. The dice, which I will show you, are printed. They are not stickers, even though on video they might kind of look like it. And there's different colors of dice, and each type of dice has different things on it. So, oh gosh, it's going to be hard to show these to the camera in a way that they'll actually focus probably. But they have the pictures of the different herbs on them. I'm so sorry. I can't get it to focus. Put my little face here. Hey, there's a flower. There's an herb. And there's an herb. Dice on my forehead. They are beautiful. I love them so much. Yeah, and they're printed on there, like really, really nice quality. All of the components are great. I'm actually, the only thing that makes me mad about this game is I think I could fit all of the components for it into my quiver, except for the board. And I have Herbaceous in my quiver, and I would love to bring this around in my quiver as well. And all the other components would fit down into a pretty small footprint. This is all of it right there. I can fit that in my quiver. This is the one thing that won't fit. So I might have to figure out a way to carry this around in a backpack and put the rest in the quiver. But I mean, the box isn't huge either. It's pretty small. It's not bad. But, you know, anytime I can throw games in the quiver is a plus for me. I love Herbaceous. I love this too. And they feel different enough that I'm happy I have both in my collection. And of course, Beth Sobel's art, as always, is beautiful. So I would highly recommend this one, especially for people who like Herbaceous, just that lovely planting things feeling. It's great.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I have one more real quick that I wanted to talk about. It's called Maiden's Quest. This is from WizKids. Designer is
Ooh.
Ken Shannon.
I'm curious about this one.
So what had me interested in this is the plot line. It's, a princess who gets sick of waiting around in a tower to be rescued and just decides to take matters into her own hands and start kicking butt.
That's my kind of princess.
It is a solo game. I mean, there are rules for doing a duel. Two people working together, and there's also some crazy multiplayer rules. But it's basically a solo game. And there's crazy rules about building your deck. You basically pick a princess who has special powers, and then you figure out who your big bad is. So you may have the Dim de Troll, and he has something he needs to do to be defeated. Or you can pick, who's this one? Turdo Weddleson. Yeah. Anyway, you pick one of these bad guys. They go in there. They have a whole series of things that go in a deck. You basically construct a deck that is the stuff you will be encountering over the course of the game. The main mechanism of this is that you've got these cards. So like here is a hairbow, and this is like the basic version of this card, but it can be upgraded into being a gold version of this, or it can be downgraded into a damaged version of that, or even like a destroyed version of that, which is bad. You don't want that. So you have all these resources, items and weapons and cool stuff. You even have some health cards and stuff like that. You have them all in a deck, and you will encounter some nasty, an ogre or something. And you then fan the next several cards in your deck. I haven't built my deck properly, but it sort of looks like this. And you have symbols that you're trying to match with whatever it is you're encountering. If you manage to get enough symbols to defeat that thing, you then can do something with it. Sometimes it gives you a reward. Sometimes you flip it over most of the time, and now it's something good in your deck. And you'll work your way through your deck multiple times. And there's this level up concept where you start out. There we go. You start out in level 1 of the dungeon, and then when you go through your deck, you then go to level 2, and all the bad guys have numbers on them as well. So early on, you will actually skip several cards. So if you run into a level 3 monster, but you're only on level 2 of the dungeon, it's as if that card doesn't exist. But when you get to level 3, after you've gone through your deck a few times, then more nasty things show up. I enjoy this game mechanically. It's kind of cool to build. You sort of build a quest, a deck, and then you could, if you fail on that one, just reshuffle that and start over, try it again. I am not at all happy with the rulebook for this game. They spend a whole lot of time explaining what everything, like what all the symbology is and all these rules minutia before telling you how you play the game. And there's this sort of tutorial that runs you through the first round of a game, where you have to sort of pre-build your deck, but it doesn't really cover everything, and you sort of get a concept, but some of the illustrations are incorrect in the rule book. It's not fantastic, and I keep hearing rumors that they're releasing a new version of the rules, but I have not yet seen it. So I like mechanically this game. I am not a fan of the way it's taught. But still, I'm glad I picked up Maiden's Quest.
Yeah, that one has been on my I want to try that list for a while now. And I almost grabbed it while I was at BGG Con in November and just got distracted and didn't have a chance to. But yeah, I keep hearing the same things about the rule book. So I feel like I'm probably just going to wait and hope that a new edition with an updated rule book gets released.
That is the hope. I mean, they should hopefully distribute it online as well, so I can put a new PDF copy in the box or something. I also that there's an insert in there. You need to sort this box because there's all these different card types. I almost want to get the Hugo's Amazing Tape and separate everything either into bags or with the tape, and so I have it all sorted in the box rather than that mess right now.
Awesome.
So it's game time, Crystal.
It's game time!
We didn't play anything 2 weeks ago, but it's my turn to challenge you. And we're going to play a game that we played a few weeks ago with the chat. You and the chat, Crystal, are going to team up to play just one.
Hooray!
Yay!
I love this game.
So if you missed the last time we played, or you haven't had a chance to play Just One is a game from Asmodee. It's a party word game in which someone, the guesser, has a card with a word in front of them. They're presented with a word, but they don't see it. The rest of the team is all working together to hopefully get them to guess that word. Everybody writes down a one-word clue on their little board, but then they show each other those words. And any duplicate clues are out. So the way we play this for here on Dice Tower tonight is that we will have the chat, and the first 6 one-word clues that I see in the chat will be what Crystal gets to hear. Crystal, of course, will no longer be watching either the video feed or the chat once we get started. And then I will give her the clues that the chat provides. However, any duplicates will not be given. So it's possible that she only gets to hear 1 or 2 words if there are too many duplicates. I have 6 words prepared. We're not going to play this for too long. So
And
your goal here
I
is
will
to
say
get...
for the chat, when you guys are giving clues, don't type in all caps normally, but just for the clues, put your words in all caps because it'll be easier for Eric to pick out when they start, because we do have a slight delay because of the YouTube live stream. So put your clues only is single word, all caps, just for Eric's ease of reference.
That is a good idea. So 6 words. Let's say bronze is 4 words. If you can get 4 out of the 6, that's a success right there. Silver, of course, would be 5, and the ultimate victory would be getting all 6 words.
Okay, I am minimizing windows on my screen right now, so I can no longer see anything, which I have to admit, while I'm doing a live stream, is making me very paranoid.
It is. It's very weird. It's sort of like playing Nyctophobia. Suddenly, one sense is gone.
Yeah, it's very odd. I'm talking right now to my blank computer screen, and that's super strange.
All right, chat. I am going to put up the first word. Whoops. It's a little too big. There we go. That is the first word that we will be trying to get Crystal to guess. And now I'm switching over to the chat. And the first 6 clues will be the ones that we can give her. Once again, here's the word.
Yeah, and I'm not going to bring any of the video feeds back up until we're done with the game. So
we have the first 6. Now I have to freeze the chat here so I don't lose them. All right, good job, everybody. There are no duplicates in this first 6. So are you ready? Your clues are pool, streamers, rock star, fiesta, social, and shindig.
Well, I think the chat did an awesome job because those 6 words are definitely pointing me toward the word party.
Party is absolutely right. Nice job. That's 1 point for Crystal and the chat. Well done. All right, we're off to a good start. Here is your second word. Crystal, you're not looking?
I'm not. I promise I'm not bringing the video feeds back up. I'm just talking to a blank computer screen.
That is your second word, chat. And let's flip that over so I can watch. Of course, I have to make sure I see what the new words are and don't confuse them with the old ones.
It is funny that Tom accuses me of cheating in some trivia games because I tend to be at certain trivia games I tend to be pretty decent, and he always accuses me of cheating. But that would make the game not fun.
All right, I think we have. Oh, hold up, chat. There we go. We have our 6, and oh yeah, there are duplicates. All right. So yeah, 3 of them were the same clue.
Okay.
So here we go.
The 3 words.
You've got cheater, hike, and Montana.
What? I'm sure that there is something that makes so much sense. Cheater,
Montana, and hike.
What would make somebody say Montana? Because the first thing that came to mind was mountain, but if you said mountain on the card, nobody would say Montana. That's flat also, there's no mountains. Why did that come to my mind? I swear I'm good at trivia games. Oh no. I really have zero idea. I'm just going to have to throw out something at random and we'll say buffalo.
Great guess. The word was quarterback.
The
word that got
and I'm such a bad Chiefs fan. I'm sorry, whoever said Montana. You're the best.
The one that got ejected was 3 people said Brady.
Okay. Oh, you know what? Whoever said Montana, you did a really good job, but I wasn't even thinking football at all. Oh.
Here we go. Word number 3. Word number 3 is on the screen and looking for clues.
That's what makes it tough is like all of those words have different meanings. And so like,
Yes.
yeah, like unless you can find the thread. That's what I love about this game. It's so good. Everyone go buy this game.
Okay. We've got our 6 and there are 3 duplicates again.
Oh no.
So you're only getting 3 words, Crystal. One is cup, Lombardi, award. Cup, Lombardi, and award.
The word has to be trophy.
Nice job.
Yay!
Trophy is correct. All right, that's 2 out of the 3. We're doing fine. This is great. Fantastic. All right, here is the next word. Next word. Word number 4 is on the screen. Checking to the chat.
I've detected a theme also.
Oh, by the way, the word that everybody said was wife.
Wife. Well, that's where this game is great. Is that's not the first word you go to, but since you are trying to pick a word that everybody else won't go to, that's how those things end up getting canceled. I love it.
Yep. Okay, we've got our clues. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh no. You've got 4 duplicates.
Okay, so I'm getting 2 words.
So your 2 words are air and protect. Air and protect.
Okay. Head?
No, good. That's a good guess. It was
helmet?
defense.
Oh, okay, good defense. Okay, good.
Defense.
Helmet was my other, but yeah, like airhead. And,
Yep.
You know, okay.
Yep. The 2 that got ejected were offense and lawyer.
Oh, okay.
So both good clues, but 2 people thought of them. Okay.
Yep.
Here we go. We're 2 and 2 now. We're going for you can't miss any more, or else you have to get these 2. Okay, here we go. Word number 5. Word number 5 on the board. And checking the chat. People complaining about the last set of clues.
How dare people not think of
the
best clues immediately and type them in very quickly?
Okay. Yep, I was afraid of that. So let's see. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. 3 of them are out.
Okay.
You get info, interstitial, and annoying.
Oh no.
Info, interstitial, annoying.
Well, I'm thinking this is still all like Super Bowl themed. Is it commercials?
Absolutely right. Commercials is right.
Chat, you did so good.
Ads, all various versions of ads, advertisements, adverts. Those were all out. Okay.
Okay.
This is it. This is for the win, or at least the bronze.
For the bronze.
What we're calling the win, the victory condition here. Word number 6. Word number 6 is on the board. Switching to the chat now.
This is fun because I can actually look straight at my webcam, which I'm not usually doing a lot of the time because I'm either looking at you on my screen or something else. And when I do this, I can just stare at my webcam.
You're making eye contact.
I'm just mindlessly getting closer and closer and closer. No.
Okie dokie. We've got 6. And I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They are all unique. So you're getting the full gamut.
Okay, chat, we can do this.
You get chips, libre, queso, chili, food, supreme. Chips, libre, queso, chili, food, supreme.
I mean, there's a couple in there that are throwing me off because my first inclination is just cheese. But like, what's like Libre? I don't know. Like a Cuba Libre? That's a drink. What was the very last word?
Let's see. Chips, libre, queso, chili, food, supreme.
Supreme. Oh, nachos. It's got to be nachos.
You can bring up your video feed, Crystal.
Bringing up my video feed. Oh no, that's the wrong one. Here we go. I can see you again.
It's nachos. You are absolutely right.
Yay!
So you get your 4 out of the 6. Well done, and well done, chat. Those are some very good clues. I like this game a lot. I got to play the actual tabletop version a few weeks ago and really, really enjoyed it as well. It's really a great game.
It is. It's wonderful. Everybody go check this one out for sure. And yeah, you have little whiteboards that you can write on, and it's just so quick and easy to play, easy to teach. And honestly, this is one of those games that you could pull out for just a few minutes between games or at the end of a game night or at the beginning or with new gamers, established gamers. Like, it's just so good.
So we're a little late in getting to this sort of topic, but hey, why not? You know, it's already February. I don't know how that happened. But we haven't talked about games that we're excited about for 2019 yet. And I mean, we've had several releases already in the last month or so, but there are still games that we haven't played, that we've heard things about, that we really want to learn more about, and we should discuss them.
I agree wholeheartedly.
So we each have 5. Let's go back and forth. Crystal, what do you think?
I think that sounds great. Would you like me to go first?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I will go from 5 to 1. These are all games that I'm very excited to learn more about and or play, but my number 1 is the one I'm the most excited about, down to my number 5. So my number 5 is technically only my number 5 because it has already released. I just haven't played it yet, and that is Wingspan. You all know I love animals, dogs especially, but burbs are great too. And
Burbs?
Burbs, you have to put a B at the end of it. Then it's, the way the internet says things.
Right,
there's like doggos, and burbs are the bird equivalent of that. And yeah, I have been wanting to try this. It was on the Dice Tower cruise. I was adjacent to this game being played most of the week, and it was just so popular that I never got a chance to play it. And this is from designer Elizabeth Hargrave, which also excites me. She is kind of an up-and-coming designer. Her little 18-card game, Tussie Mussy, was one of the winners of the Button Shy Gin Cant contest in 2018. And I have played Tussie Mussy, and I loved it. So I'm excited to see more stuff from her. I've heard very good things about the game. The components look lovely. The little birdhouse-shaped dice tower and the little egg tokens, all of it looks great. I'm very excited about it. So that is why Wingspan is my number 5.
I have also been Wingspan adjacent in several circumstances now. I have yet to play it. I even have some folks in my game group that got a copy, and then we had an ice storm and I didn't actually get out to play the game. Anyway, my number 5 is a game called Seize the Bean. It's from Andy Coach and Dylan Howard Cromwell from Quality Beast Games. It is a game about you're a barista that decides you know more about running a coffee shop than the people you work for, and so you leave, but so do all of your friends. So now you are all competing to create the best coffee shop. But what I like about the concept is that not only are you trying to build up your business, but in between, you have to serve the line of customers that have lined up at your coffee shop. So you have to adjust the line and move them around and get them the orders that they want. But then you spend money and resources to build up your coffee shop. The art design looks interesting. It looks like a fun one. So that is Seize the Bean, my number 5.
Okay. My number 4, maybe somebody in the chat can help me, because I know very little about this game, and I can find very little information about it online, aside from its BGG listing. It is called Sarah's Vision. It claims that it's coming out in 2019. The publisher is Baloise Group, or Baloy Group. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Baloise. It is touted as a story-driven cooperative game of strategy and resource management set in a world beyond imagination, where powerful forces seek to undermine society and return us to the dark days of the early 21st century. I wonder if I can screen share this. That's probably not going to be possible. Basically, this game looks really cool. The board is bright, colorful, and interesting, and there's a Jenga tower adjacent to the board that is somehow in gameplay. I cannot find much information about this at all, and I don't know. Is it coming out soon? End of the year? I know nothing, but it looks beautiful. The theme sounds interesting, and I like story-driven games, so I'm hoping it's going to be great whenever it releases. That is Sarah's Vision from Baloise Games.
Cooperative story-driven game has me interested. My number 4 is a game from Hervé Rigal and La Boîte de Jeux. It's called Netatanka. Full disclosure, I actually did the Kickstarter preview video, so I got all the marketing copy of this and sort of got to narrate what this game is about. But it is a worker placement game set in early mankind, where you set workers out to hunt game and harvest pelts or meat and stuff. But you spend around putting all of your characters out, and then you execute actions in whatever order you're going to do. But you have to make sure you pay attention to the order in which you execute, because say you're trying to collect meat to feed your family, someone has to kill the game first. And if no one does that, you don't have anything to collect. But if you do a hunt action, you may leave meat for someone else to collect, and then you don't get whatever it is that you hunted. Also, there's a connection between adjacent spaces that can make things more powerful. It just seems like an interesting twist on worker placement. It's Netatanka from La Boîte de Jeux.
That one is now going to be on my list as well. I like worker placement games a lot, and that one sounds interesting. All right, so my number 3 is one that a few people have probably heard about in the chat. It is Doppelt So Clever. It is the follow-up to Ganz Schon Clever from Wolfgang Warsch. It's called Double. I don't know what the English translation is exactly. Double the Clever, I think.
I think it's twice as clever.
Twice
is what
as
they're
clever?
saying. Yeah, that's
Okay.
what they're calling the English version.
And I may have already been playing the solo version of this on my phone a whole bunch. I am in love with Ganz Schon Clever. I'm actually kind of more in love with Doppelt so far. It is a little bit more like the decision making is a little bit more difficult. I think it's less straightforward, or maybe people just haven't figured it out yet, at least the solo game. Needless to say, I'm very excited for, I think it's Stronghold that's releasing the English edition of this in May. I'm excited to play the multiplayer version of this game, like very much. So I'm sure I'll have played the solo game a whole ton by then. But yeah, as far as roll and write games go, Ganz Schon is one of my favorites. And so give me Double, please.
So real quick, what is the difference between Ganz Schon and Doppelt?
So functionally, they're incredibly similar. You are rolling a whole mess of dice and then choosing one of them to do their action each turn. And then that die gets placed in its respective area based on color. Apologies if this is a little bit blurry. Mm-hmm. And when you pick a die, any die that have a lower pip value on them get placed onto the silver platter. And you, quote unquote, cannot use those for the rest of the round. But Doppelt introduces a new bonus type that's a little lock symbol. And when you earn those bonuses, it will allow you to take dice back off the silver platter and into your supply. So what's really cool is you can pick dice that are a higher value because you really want them now, kick some of the other dice off, and then immediately put them back into your supply if you have the actions to do it. It makes the decision-making interesting, and all of the areas work differently in this game than in the other game. The most interesting so far for me is the silver die section. When you choose either a white or a silver die and use it as a silver in the silver area, it X's off that number in the color you've selected and the numbers that correspond with every single die you just kicked onto the silver tray. So in theory, if your very first turn, you picked a silver 6, obviously anything less than a 6 would get kicked to the tray. Those numbers, so if you knock off, let's say, a pink 4 and a blue 3, those numbers will get crossed off in that silver section, and you score based on each row of the sections, and they're all color based. I know it's impossible to see on the stream. I'm probably not going to be able to make that super visible, but they're all color based. Ooh, hey, look, it focused a little for a minute, for a second. It was very hard to figure out at first. I had no idea what I was doing in that area, and I'm still not great at this. People are already scoring crazy scores, and I think I got to 260, and I was very happy about that. But yeah, all the sections score differently than Gon's shown. It's the same or similar mechanics with different outcomes. So I'm digging it a lot.
Okay. My number 3 is the new Century game. Century, A New World, which is also a worker placement mechanism. It uses the trading of the other Century games, the card-based trading, turning cubes into other cubes. But it also has a worker placement aspect. That's about all I know about it. But I also am fascinated by the possibility of combining this in various combinations with the other Century games. So we had Century Eastern Wonders, which came out after Century Spice Road, and you could put them together into one game. Now you can get the third game, which can be combined with just the first game, or with just the second game, or with all 3 games together. It's, all of these different pieces that can come together. That fascinates me. The only bad part is that I don't have the second game yet. I should probably do that first. Still, I love Emerson Matsuuchi, and the new Century game, which is A New World, is exciting to me. That comes out at Origins.
That actually sounds pretty cool. I was not a fan. I'm one of the few people that was not a fan of Century Spice Road, even though Emerson is one of the best humans. I love him.
True.
But yeah, it was a little too dry for my taste. And I never tried Century Eastern Wonders, but adding in a worker placement mechanic definitely makes me a little more interested. So we are moving on to number 2. My number 2 is actually a game that's currently on Kickstarter. And it is the second appearance of something Wolfgang Warsch related on my list, and that is Wavelength. It is a party game. It is a collaboration from Wolfgang Warsch and the 2 designers of Monikers. And I heard all of that and went, okay, well, I'm probably backing that. And then I went to the page and I went, oh, I'm definitely backing that. So I pull it up on Kickstarter, people, if you're on your computer. So in Wavelength, you have a deck of cards that say it's a range of things. So on one end, it might be smells good. And on the other end, it smells bad. And then there's this plastic dial that you put these cards into, and inside the plastic dial is an area that's filled in with color. And that is secret to the other players. I should know more about this, and I didn't study it because I just backed it sight unseen. Basically, one of the players, or all the players, I don't remember who, is trying to pick a thing that falls within the range that is shown on the dial and then the other players have to guess where amongst the dial the thing falls. But it's always shades of gray. So on the Kickstarter page today, they ask people if the range smells good on one end and smells bad on the other, what word would get somebody to make a guess that would fall right within the like just barely into smells bad section. So you're trying to put something out into the world, a word, a phrase, a thing that will make people guess that exact part of this range. And so like I put puppy breath in the comments because technically puppy breath is bad, but because it's a puppy, like, you know, most people are like, that's not that bad. So I don't know if other people would agree with me on that. But yeah, you're trying to pick a word that will fall within the correct range and the dial is hidden. Apparently there's a very nice tactile feel to the dial that they're putting in the box. I'm super excited about this. And all the people designing it have designed things that I've been enamored with recently. So that is why Wavelength is my number 2.
Nice. That sounds fun.
Yeah, I didn't describe it well at all, but it's on Kickstarter, so you can go actually read about it and learn more accurately how it works.
My number 2 was announced at Dice Tower, at Gen Con last year, and that's Machi Koro Legacy. I really enjoy Machi Koro, although many people consider that Space Base has sort of supplanted it as that style of game. But I never got the retail version of Machi Koro. And I think this legacy version with this evolving storyline is something that I'm going to want to check out, play with my kids, and it's my excuse to get a Machi Koro game. Although I think we had talked about expansions coming up. Space Base has an expansion called The Emergence of Shy Pluto coming out later this year, which is also a story-based sort of plot line, legacy style. It's not quite legacy, but it's a plot expansion for Space Base, which also sounds really cool and an excuse for me to get Space Base because I don't have that one yet, but the expansion sounds really neat. So I understand, Crystal, a game you don't have, and the expansion sort of makes you want the whole shebang. Anyway, I'm still excited, very excited about Machi Koro Legacy, my number 2.
I will say on my short list, but did not make my top 5, was Clank Legacy. That one I'm interested in, but a little skeptical about. I really like Clank. I am curious how it will work in a legacy format. So it's up there. I'm interested, but it just didn't make my top 5.
Yeah.
So my number 1, I'm technically cheating because it is 3 different games. But I think
okay.
I think people will forgive me because those 3 games are Time Stories Madame, Time Stories Revolution A Midsummer Night, and Time Stories Revolution The Hadal Project. So I could not like put these as 3 different things on my 5 entry list. That's too much. But while Time Stories has definitely dipped for me over the 9 or 10 scenarios that have been presented thus far, I still love the system as a whole. And Time Stories Madame is going to be the final game in their white box series. So this overarching story that they've created and used well in some places and not so well in others is apparently coming to an end. And that means Bob's probably really angry. And anyone who knows Time Stories knows Bob. Bob is a thing in this game. I want to see what happens to Bob, if nothing else. And then A Midsummer Night and the Hadal Project are the first 2 entries in their Blue Box series, which are an entirely new type of time stories. Supposedly there are things that are functionally changed about the game. They are standalone. Like each box you buy is its own thing. You don't buy like a base game and then buy expansions for it. I know almost nothing about it other than that, but I really like Time Stories. They've had a few years to kind of get things under their belt, and I am hoping that the Blue Box series will reinvigorate Time Stories as a whole. Whether it does or not, I'm interested. So that is why all of the upcoming Time Stories games are my number 1.
I mean, I want to agree, but I'm so far behind on the white box Time Story stuff that I can wait a little while on the Blue Box. That still sounds really cool, though. I want to see how the system evolves. Number 1 for me, you mentioned a cooperative story-driven game. That's my number 1, Sleeping Gods. This is Ryan Lockett's new game. that's similar, I guess. Has its story elements, kind of like Above and Below and Near and Far, but you are working together as crew members of this ship and trying to go on adventures. It's apparently possible to add players, drop out without any difficulty, to stop at any point. You can have sessions as long or as short as you want, and you just simply pause and save the game and continue on this adventure. So I'm in because I love Ryan Lockett stuff. I'm in. Sleeping Gods, #1.
Yeah, Near and Far is one of my top 3 games of all time. So I did not know about this. You know, it's not like there's a lot of board games coming out. I'm glad that I didn't, for the sake of our lists being different, but consider that now also part of my top 5, even though it's more than 5, because that sounds awesome.
The one thing I didn't check was double check that is scheduled to be out this year. A lot of times Board Game Geek will, have a 2019 date on something like 1001 Nights is a game from Asmati Games that I backed and I'm really excited about. It's another, cooperative adventure storytelling thing. It says 2019, but they're not actually supposed to get it out until 2020. So I don't know if that one is going to make it this year, but yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I saw someone in the chat earlier mention whether Dark Tower was coming out from Restoration Games this year, Return to the Dark Tower. And I know their Kickstarter is this year, but the game's not coming out till 2020. Otherwise, that one would definitely be on my list.
All right. So we have a few minutes. We've had a lot of great things to talk about today, but a few minutes if anyone in the chat wants to talk about stuff. There's been some lovely discussions already flying around about what else people are looking forward to this year. I saw, there was one that was on my short list that I remember seeing that people are talking about, but now I've lost it in the chat. What else are people excited about here?
Somebody said I gave away spoilers for something. I assume that was about the fact that Bob exists, but I don't know.
Yeah. There were Bob's, and the fact that Bob is angry. I mean, really?
Okay,
I didn't know that earlier.
Fun fact, you learn that Bob is angry the very first time you see him, which is at the very beginning of the first scenario. And yeah, spoiler alert, Bob's always angry. I don't spoil important things, people, I promise. Bob just is an angry person.
A lot of people excited about Seventh Continent expansions, new scenarios coming out for that in this year.
Man, I wish that game hadn't gotten ruined for me. Playing it 4-player really, truly just destroyed it for me. It is the type of game that I should love, and 4 players, it is a miserable slog. We played it a total of, I want to say like 16 or 17 hours worth of gameplay in that first really super long scenario, and we did not finish it, and we gave up. And I don't give up on things easily at all, and we couldn't.
So a few people asking if there are hesitations in purchasing legacy games or adding them to your collection at this point. I know that I am a little hesitant unless it's something I'm excited about. There's like Charterstone is a game that I'm hearing wonderful things about, but I have enough legacy or campaign style games. It's one that I just think would end up on the shelf and not played. So it's one I've held off on purchasing myself. What do you feel like, Crystal?
I am kind of the same mindset. Like, I still haven't played, what is the one that came out this past year that's from Inca and Marcus Brand?
It's not Legacy of Dragonholt. It's
no. Somebody in the chat will probably drop it in there in just a second. But like, I love Inca and Marcus Brand's designs. But I've heard kind of mixed stuff about the Legacy game. And so I think I'm going to hold off on that one for a little while. It's not to say Rise of Queensdale. Thank you, chat. Rise of Queensdale.
Yep.
I've heard kind of mixed things about it. And honestly, it didn't splash as big as I thought in any way. Like, I haven't heard a ton about it overall. But yeah, with Legacy games, basically, if it's Pandemic Legacy, I have no hesitation because I've played Season 1 and I've played Season 2 and both were amazing. Yeah. So a Season 3 supposedly is coming eventually. but there's been no formal announcements as such. And I don't know anything secret, in case that sounded sneaky.
Yeah, no.
I don't actually know anything. I'm just assuming. But yeah, that one I think I would buy pretty much sight unseen. Everything else I'm kind of, tiptoeing in, and also finding time to play those, is tough.
So, Crystal, I noticed your wardrobe for the stream tonight. You've got your disco shirt on.
Disco.
Without spoilers, what do you think of the new season?
I think the new season is on pace to be better than season 1, which is saying a lot because I loved season 1 quite a bit. There have been 3 episodes so far in season 2. And there have been bits and pieces that I have not been super keen on for various reasons, but overall, I like the tone that they're going with this season. It feels like they've done a really good job of marrying the disco world that they've set up with a more familiar Trek storytelling experience.
Yeah.
So I'm digging it quite a bit. Tilly has had a lot of screen time. That's not really a spoiler, but she's been around quite a bit in the episodes so far, and that makes me infinitely happy. So
yeah, the second episode of the season in particular feels like Star Trek. It is a really solid, almost standalone, while still having the overarching plot line. It feels like we're going on an adventure, we're trying to solve a problem, and I love Pike. The
Anson Mount is amazing. I've never been a person who gave a second thought to Pike. Generally, I'm not a huge the original series isn't my Star Trek, and the rebooted movies, the Kelvin universe movies are great, and Pike's great in those. But whatever, Pike. Anson Mount has made me a Pike fan. I have a little Pike pin. I don't have it nearby. I can't pull it up on the stream, but I am loving his portrayal of Pike so far.
Yeah, it's real, and I mean, obviously he's written very well as well, but it's just it feels again like Star Trek. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Leonardo asks, Eric, I was in New York a couple of weeks ago, and there was a guy at the Brooklyn Ninja Warrior gym who looked exactly like you in the waiting area. Was it you? It was me. Why didn't you come by and say hi? Seriously. Yeah, that's where my son qualified for Worlds. 1 week from this Saturday, we have Ninja Warrior World Championships.
That's super exciting. I will admit, I've been watching your videos when you post them online of the kiddos doing the ninja stuff, and it is fascinating to me.
It is a blast. It's going to be nerve-wracking and scary. There's 250 kids in each category at this competition. And I think my youngest is number 11 to run out of all 250 of them. It's going to be overwhelming, but I'm excited. We get to go to the World Championship. It's pretty cool.
That is very cool. And congrats to them. Give them all of our Dice Tower power and love, and hopefully they'll do great.
All right. Are there any other questions we want to answer in the chat here, Crystal? Leonardo said his son qualified as well. Congratulations. Awesome.
Very cool. Yeah, chat, if you have any other questions, feel free to drop them in real quick. Otherwise, we're probably going to go ahead and end this. This was a fun episode, Eric.
Yeah, I had a good time. We should do it again in 2 weeks. Why not?
You know what? 2 weeks sounds lovely. So before we wrap up the show, though, just one more quick reminder in case you weren't here at the top of the show. The Dice Towers Kickstarter campaign is live right now just for another 26 hours or so. So please go over to Kickstarter, support the Dice Tower. If you enjoy video content like this and you want to see more of it, there are some really cool stretch goals that they haven't hit yet. So go donate, tell your friends, share it on social media. Even if you can't back it, just sharing it on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, wherever can be incredibly beneficial. And we appreciate you all being willing to spread the word. And then we're going to see all of you, not all of you, a bunch of you, hopefully, at Dice Tower West in a month. If all of you were there, that would be really cool, though.
Yes. And we're trying to talk weeks away what we want to do as far as Dice Tower Tonight for that week. Maybe we can try and do a short, brief episode from there, but we might not. We'll see. It's still up in the air.
We'll try. So Eric will wrap up the show, but until then, just make sure you click the thumbs up button on this video if you liked it, if you had fun playing Just One with us, and if you're excited about gaming in 2019. I know I am.
So until next time, I'm Eric Summerer.
And I'm Crystal Pisano.
And you've been watching Dice Tower Tonight. Thanks for watching. Promotional consideration has been provided by game publishers in the form of review copies of games. Crystal and I will see you in 2 weeks for another installment. Our show is supported by viewers like you. Thank you. Dice Tower Tonight is produced by Crystal and me with assistance from Tom Vassell, Roy Kennedy, hi Roy, and Rob Searing. Digging under the couch for a lost corn chip provided by The Quest for El Dorito. Timothy Pinkham composed our theme, and hosting is provided by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games at great prices at coolstuffinc.com. Give us your feedback on the Dice Tower Guild at Board Game Geek on Facebook or Twitter, or by emailing us at dicetower@gmail.com. And don't forget to visit the other shows in the Dice Tower Network. Find something new at dicetowernetwork.com. Until next time, from all of us at the Dice Tower, have fun gaming.
And go support the Dice Tower on Kickstarter.
Bye, everybody.